Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We are so glad that you are here with us to go over Khanmigo teacher tools, what's new, to show you the most up-to-date, exciting updates in Khanmigo. My name is John Shoemaker. I work for the Department of Educational Technology as a technology program specialist. And thank you for joining us. As we get started, don't forget, over there is the chat box. If you don't see the chat box, you can join in an incognito tab and just copy the URL over, and it should appear. You may have to make a channel if this is your first time as well. That's fine. You can do that. But over there is where we'll communicate. And I see we finally got some people over there chatting with us, sharing where they're from. So please, if you don't mind, share what school you're joining from and what your role is. And that can help Tamsin as well as we get some ideas of what we're going to talk about today. Also, don't forget down below, you can like and subscribe to our channel. So like this video below and then subscribe. This channel has hundreds of videos in the EdTech team, and it will also let you know when we go live next time. So if you are interested in that, please like and subscribe below. And we may have some moderators join us. Those are typically other EdTech team members who can be here to answer questions and help out with any technical issues. So with that, again, please use the chat as we're working, communicate, share ideas, tell us what you're learning. It looks like we've got a lot of elementary schools coming in on us. So with that, I am going to turn it over to Tamsin, who is from Khan Academy, and she will take it away.
Thank you, John. Hi, welcome everyone. My name is Tamsin. I'm the professional learning specialist with Khan Academy. I come from teaching in Palm Beach County schools, elementary through secondary, as well as supporting schools in the South region from the multicultural department as an instructional specialist. So I have been in your shoes. I'm still in your shoes. I'm right there with you. And I appreciate you so much for being here today and taking the time out of your day to learn a little bit more. Elizabeth Hadley is also part of our team. She's the district success manager for Khan Academy in Palm Beach County. And she is the one who is looking at data and analyzing a lot of things in Excel spreadsheets. And she's always supporting in the back end as well. From the Ed Tech team, this is your team that is kind of divided by region, but you can pretty much call on anybody. And they are here to help if any issues you might have on the tech side for this implementation. And we're going to get right into it. So I am going to give you some updates on the teacher tools in Khan Academy, but I also am going to give you some time to play around with them yourself. So if you have an extra monitor or are able to log into a different computer and open up your Khan Academy account, you are going to have a chance to go in and play around with some of these tools after I show you the updates, and it'll kind of do like a back and forth. I'll show you some updates. You can go in and play around. All right, so let's get started. These are the Khanmigo teacher tools. They can be categorized at the top. So I'm going to go into mine. When you get in them, you can differentiate each section by clicking on these buttons at the top. So if you have everything, it could be a little bit of an overwhelming list, but I'm going to focus on one section at a time. And the first one I'm going to focus on is the planning section. But before I do, I want to give you an update that's happened across all tools, no matter what section they're in. And this is our improved co-editor toolbar. So before, if you highlighted something, you can ask Khanmigo a question. Now, when you highlight something, you have three different options. The first option is you can make changes to this. And what it'll do is it'll give you a little text box and you can start chatting about something you might want to make changes to with your own suggestions. The next one is try something different. This will literally just replace whatever's highlighted with something else. And the last one, which is my favorite, and I think it's the most underused because a lot of people might not be aware what it does, but this discuss this button is going to, whatever's highlighted, it's going to open up Khanmigo on the side and give you a ton of information on exactly why Khanmigo chose that. So I'm going to show you what that looks like here. I have a lesson plan. It was on the American Revolution. And again, this works for anything that you create in Khanmigo. And I'm going to go down to this, let's see. Let's go down to the exit ticket. So in the exit ticket, you see these little purple bars kind of hovering up. You can click on a purple bar and it'll highlight it for you, or you can highlight it yourself, right? So say it says this right here, and I'm not really sure, why we chose this question. If I click on discuss this chat box with Khanmigo is going to open up. And Khanmigo is going to give me a ton of information on why that was chosen. Okay, so it talks about what students have to do. It gives the answer in more detail. And it also talks about how it encourages students to think and analyze while they're answering this question. This is great for someone who might be new to teaching a subject or might not be comfortable with a certain area and wants to get a little bit more information as to why that was chosen. I love the discuss this button. Earlier today, we showed this with another group and I asked about the warm-up. And so here I had highlighted this warm-up and I wanted to know, well, why? Why did you choose this warm-up? And it talks about why, and it talks about a discussion prompt you can use with the warm-up. Like, it just gives a ton more detail. And again, that is the discuss this button. So that is one thing that has been updated, and that goes for every tool. So going into the planning section, our lesson plan has been updated. What is now new is a lot more choices in what you put before it's actually created. So, excuse me. So we have the format. So now you have 5-part, 5 E's, inquiry-based and UDL, different options. So the format of which it outputs your lesson plan based on your standards is now choosable. So you can get to choose which one you like. And then you also get to choose the level of detail because our lesson plan generator is very detailed. And some people said they just want an outline. So if you just want an outline, you now have that choice, or you can get the high detail, which I highly recommend for subs because they can get everything they would need to be able to implement that lesson plan with such a high detailed lesson. So that is the first update that I wanted to show you, and that was with our lesson plan tool. And the next update, it's with our lesson plan tool, but also includes our exit ticket. What you can now do with lesson plan and exit ticket is you can export it to Google Slides. Okay. So before we only had these 4 options up here, you now can export it to PowerPoint or save it to Google Slides. And what's great is that everything that is exported into the slides is student based. So whatever the student should see in the lesson plan. So you're not going to get any teacher directions. It's just going to be something that the student should be following along with. So I'll show you an example of that. So in here, I have nope, not that one. We had this lesson plan on the Great American Revolution. I'm going to show you, this one is on literary elements. So let's just pretend it was the same thing. We have literary elements. I pushed out the lesson plan. It's going to give you a title page with the date that you put, and everything once it's in here is editable. Then it's going to go and give, this is that student-friendly learning objective that the lesson plan had. Then it has your warm-up. It goes into your introduction, your class discussion, analyzing all the different parts. Here's your think, pair, share. Here's an activity, storyboard, peer review, and then finally your exit ticket, check for understanding. So like I said, it's everything that's going to be meant for students to see so that they can kind of follow along with your lesson plan, and you can add and edit these after you export them. The exit ticket is the same thing. It's only 3 slides. It's going to have this, you did it at the bottom. It's going to have the questions from the exit ticket, and it's going to have the title. So that would be something you can even put on the board. You can post it in your Google Classroom, however you think would be best for your students. You're able to do that now with the lesson plan and exit ticket. So great new feature. So I'm going to let you guys play around in some of our planning tools. So what you would like to do is when you're in your account, you can get to these in a few different ways. You can click on Khanmigo at the top and click on Teacher Tools. You can click on Khanmigo Tools under your name, or you can click over here and click on View All. So I'll go ahead and get into your account. And I'll give you a couple seconds to do that. Find those teacher tools. When you land there, it'll look something like this. You might have all of the tools selected at first. You're going to want to click on the planning button here at the top. And I want you to play around with some of these and see what you can create. Feel free to type in the chat after you created something, what you created. And if you have any questions while you're creating, please put it in the chat and I will answer them. So I'm going to go ahead and give you about 5 minutes to go ahead and explore our planning tools. All right, I saw some great things in the chat. We've got exit tickets and some that it's really quick and easy. Lesson hooks giving 3 suggestions. Yes, the lesson hooks are going to give you 3 different suggestions. So it might say, hey, try this and that, and it gives you options. You don't have to keep asking for more that you can choose from. Great things. And I even see that John may have put a little spoiler alert in our chat. So we're going to get to that as well. All right, so the next thing we are going to look at is the create section. So we were at planning. Now we're going to be in the creating section. In here, you're going to notice at the top is a Blookit generator. So I am of the, my kid uses Blookit on, so I know what it looks like on that side. And I know he loves it, but he tried making me play and I had to like feed a sandwich to something like a cat. I don't know. It was really odd. I had to put peanut butter and jelly on it. Anyway, my kid loves it. I know it from the mom side, but now we are including this in your teacher tools as a way to create standards-based Blookit generator questions and send it right out to Blookit. So what that's going to look like, I'm going to show you here, is in your create, you're going to Blookit at the top. There are a few different options you get when you join here. So you can pick your grade. I saw a lot of 3rd grade in here and 4th grade. You can put your topic, whatever your topic might be, but I highly recommend using a standard. So if I was using this standard for 3rd grade of identifying central idea, it's really important that you paste those in so that your students are getting standards-based questions. And so if I want to make a topic, maybe I want to include my science class and we're learning about recycling and the environment. Something like that. So it gives me a topic. I can include my science and social studies right around there with it. And then any notes for the topic. So maybe I want to say provide sample text for students. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I haven't done this way. And then the last one, we have overall instructions. So this is where you get to have a little fun. This one gives some examples of, phrase it in Jeopardy format, talking like a pirate. I've done it with a group of 5th grade students. And I said, make it rhyme like Dr. Seuss style. And not only did the questions rhyme, but so did all the answer choices. So that was really cute. Maybe the kids like Pokemon. My kids like Pokemon. I don't even know how to spell that. We're going to try that. A nice way to kind of incorporate students' interest in this Blookit generator tool. Okay, so here we have what materials can be recycled into new bottles. So I'm having an issue with my internet, failing to autosave. But when you're here, it's going to give you a thumbs up or thumbs down. So if I like that one, I hit thumbs up. It's going to bring it over here on my ones that I'm saving. If I didn't like one, I can hit thumbs down. And going back and forth, you have all your Blookits will be over here on the side. After you're done with that part and you have all of your questions ready that you like, you're going to click on the export to Blookit and it's going to bring you right to the Blooket page. So if you don't have an account, you can create one. If you do, it's free. If you do have an account, you just sign in. And then however you're used to using Blooket to send these out to students, everything has been vetted and is allowed by the district. So you are in good hands here because everything's being created with Khan Academy content. So that is one new feature that is very exciting. A lot of people love, especially our elementary, middle school teachers. And the next thing in our create section is our multiple choice quiz. So there are 2 updates, but I'm only going to hold on to one for now so I can save the best for later. The first update is when you get done with putting in your standards and the bottom, you now have a choice to select either just the original 4 options. You can choose 5 options, so they'll have 5 answer choices, or even true and false. So that's an update that we didn't have before. And then I'm going to show you this process later, but there's a little pro tip here. If we've had people ask, oh, well, I want to do multiple choice questions based on a piece of text or something. So if you take a piece of text, which I'll show you, and you paste it right here into the notes section with something along the lines of use this text, it will create the questions based on the text you put here in this notes, which I will go through that process later. And lastly, in our create is our rubric generator. So in the past, rubric generator, once you opened it, was more like a chat back and forth with Khanmigo, and it was a long process and it asked a lot of questions, but it came out with very great rubrics. Now it's been updated so that you are using this same form-based approach, just like all of our other tools. So you're not chatting with Khanmigo, you're actually putting all the information in. So the first thing you're going to put in is the criteria or the key competencies you want. Now, if you want to leave this empty and let Khanmigo brainstorm these for you, you can, or you have up to 7 different criteria you can use. The next part is the performance levels. So do you want 3 performance levels? Do you want 4? And do you want 5? And those are the titles that are going to be for each level. And then lastly, you have overall notes. You know, what should we adjust about the overall rubric? So maybe saying use simple language for my English language learners because they're going to be reading this, or focus on, you know, something that is specific you want to make sure it focuses on. You have that down here as well. And the last part is before you would just kind of have to copy and paste what was in the chat of the table that came out. Now, just like our other tools, you can export it however you'd like, and it does export as a table. So it's whether you print it save it as a PDF, print it, Google Docs, it's all here. If it's in Google Docs, it is editable. So those are our updates for the, what section are we in? I already forgot. The create section, the green one. The big one, this is like the save it for the best for last, even though it's only a few minutes in, but like this is the game changer. Multiple choice quiz, questions generator, and exit ticket are now all exportable to Google Forms. This has been a huge request. People have been asking for this. This is a game changer. And I'm not going to just show you it. I'm going to show you how all the things are already checked off that you would need it to be checked off to make this seamless. So I'm going to go into this multiple choice quiz I made. So we have ratios with tape diagrams. It's going to give you the questions. Down the bottom gives you the answer key. You can chat with Khanmigo and adjust it if you need to. But if you go up to export and hit save to Google Forms, it'll ask you to sign into your Google Drive, and then it will automatically open up into Google Forms. So we'll pretend that process just happened. And here is what it looks like. Here's our ratio with tape diagrams. The best part is if I click on a question, it already checked off the correct answer for me on every single one. It made every question required. It also gives 1 point for every answer. So everything is filled in. You don't have to go in and check off any of these answer keys. It's all done for you. And the other thing that's also done for you is it's automatically toggled on to make it a quiz. So that is a game changer. It will be something you can put right into your Google Classroom. So I have a pretend Google Classroom right here for you. I am going to point out something that I kind of stumbled upon when making slides for this. When you go to create, you don't want to create a quiz assignment because what's going to do is it's going to put in a blank Google form for you. You want to click on create assignment and then head over to your drive, and that Google form will be right there, ratios with tape diagrams that you just created because it'll be recent. and then it'll update. It automatically puts in grade importing. So now when students answer those questions, you'll get grades in your Google Classroom, not in Khan Academy. And then you have all the other features of creating a Google quiz assignment. So I just wanted to point that out. And the next thing I'm going to point out with this that's really cool is you can also, when you're in Google Forms, let me go back to the questions. When you're in a question, if you click on answer key, there's an option to add answer feedback. Okay, so you can put in why the incorrect answers are incorrect and why the correct ones are correct. But instead of having you to figure that out and you to type it, head back over to Khanmigo and ask Khanmigo over here. So I did this earlier and I said, provide answer feedback for each wrong answer choice. And Khanmigo then put the question and then each answer choice, why it was wrong or why it is correct. And you can take that and say, okay, so this one, I can go copy and paste over here. It doesn't automatically do that because it's not part of this export feature, but it's just another thing you can do if you would like for your students to have that extra feedback while they are getting their responses graded and they're taking this. So it's immediate feedback for them. So those are some things I think are really exciting about the new updates when it comes to the exporting to Google Forms. Okay. And now it's time for you to have some fun in creating. So we talked about the Blooket generator, multiple choice quiz, rubric generator, and I didn't go over this, but questions generator based on a piece of text will also export to Google Forms. So go ahead and at this time, start creating. You have about 5 minutes. See what you can create and play around with it, because if you have any questions during those 5 minutes, throw them in the chat and I'll be able to address them right here for you. All right, about 10 more seconds. I see some in the chat saying they love Blooket, they use it, and they are also saying that they are on point as far as testing a level where students really need to learn the skills that are necessary. Thank you for sharing that. Yes, it has been a nice feature for teachers who already utilize Blooket, and it gets you a way of tailoring it to your students and what your students enjoy and what your students need. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through and kind of show you the process of using a bunch of tools in conjunction with each other based on one standard. So I was here and I chose a third grade. It's in the middle. Identify the central idea and explain how relevant details support that idea in a text. And when I always mention copying the standard, I want to make sure you know to copy the verbiage, not just the numbers, because really the verbiage is what keeps the content that's created on par with what your standard is actually asking for. So I'm going to go into my Khanmigo teacher tools. And the first thing I want to do is I want to create an informational text. So I'm going to click on informational text. We were in third grade. And over here where it says additional instructions, I'm going to paste that standard. Okay. Just because I already had it pasted. And my topic, I'm going to go with recycling, right? So recycling and the environment, just because that's what we're also learning in science. Make it right across the two. And then over here in front of my standards, I'm going to say, make sure the text has, I'm going to delete this, a central idea, and I'm going to take this out, relevant details that, so I'm just kind of changing a little bit, support that idea in the text. So just so that it knows I need that because that's part of what I'm doing with my standard. And I'm going to go with a 300-word piece of text. So Khanmigo is creating that right now. And as you'll see, we have a central idea text, and we have this little blurb here, making sure you check it, make sure it looks good, and make sure the reading level is what you want. So I'm going to delete this note because I don't need it now when I copy and paste, right? And then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to take this text and I'm going to copy it. And I'm now going to go, and it automatically saves to my document, so I don't have to do anything right there, right? I'm going to go back out into my tools. And now I would like to create, actually I'm going to go into planning. So it's kind of creating, but planning. I want to create a lesson hook. Go back to third grade. Okay. I'm going to say recycling and the environment. And so now before I even get to the text, I have some lesson hooks, and it's going to give me 3 different choices. I might like one. I might not like any. You always have the option to click here, click try something different, and it'll replace whatever I highlighted right away with something different. This was the only thing that changed. And if you're anything like me and you don't remember what you put, luckily over here, Khanmigo is keeping track. So if we click here, it'll tell you I replaced this with this. You can always look back and see what was done, or you can always click undo. So now I have my lesson hooks. So I'm going to get out of there. And then I'm going to go into the create, and I want to make a multiple choice quiz that goes along with that text we created. So it will, some of these do ask, have the option to search Khan Academy content. I'm going to put in central idea. And then if I want to, I can use what's already in Khan Academy, but I'm going to click on provide my own context. I'm going to put in the notes. So this is where that pro tip came in. Use this text. And I already had it pasted, so I'm going to put that there. I believe it has the title. So let me go up here. And no, this does not, I didn't get the title, right? Oh yeah, it is right here. Use this text. And then now it was going to use that for these questions. And I am going to go back here and get that standard again and put it in. So it's focused and standard based, central idea, and then grade level was 3rd for 5 questions. Perfect. So here is my generated multiple choice quiz based on that text. So we have questions about what is the central idea of recycling? How does recycling help the environment? And all of these go along with that text we put in. You can go down here and check the answer key and make sure everything looks good. And you can export that and save it to your Google Forms, however you'd like, or you can print it and have your students work in pencil and paper. But I also have some students in my class that might struggle a little bit. Maybe they're English language learners or they have some ESE accommodations. I'm going to go into differentiate and I'm going to chunk that text. What I love about chunking text is, one, I don't have to do it. And two, is that it is going to literally put a small, quick main idea on top of each one of those paragraphs. I do have to go in here and get that text again because I only have the standard copied. So here is my text. Get that copied again. Go back into my chunk text and paste it here. And I think the title's at the top, so I'm going to cut that out, paste it here. All right, and then I want to chunk for comprehension, not for reading fluency, but for comprehension. What you'll see here is now each paragraph has a tiny little miniature quick main idea on top of it, really helping students focus what is about to come in that paragraph so that they're able to see, okay, this is what is the behind the reasoning behind this paragraph, so they know what it is they're reading, and it kind of breaks it into pieces for them with little miniature main ideas at the top. So now I have that. And then the last thing I can go and do is I can create an exit ticket. So you can do the same thing and create an exit ticket with that text or without, however you want to do it. But you can go ahead and literally use all of these tools in conjunction with each other so that you're able to get the best out of what you're creating for your students and always focusing on standards-based. Now, I'm going to go back into our slides because I want to make sure I point out because I've gone through this kind of fast, when you're in your account, you can get to your documents a couple of ways. At the top of the page, you can click on resources and you'll see my documents. Or you can click on Khanmigo, which is this guy, and click on my documents. So what you saw me doing here, I'm in teacher tools. You have this button up here to go to my documents. You can also go here under resource and click my documents. So just a few ways. I think the easiest, since I use this a lot for me, is just going right to my documents. When you're in here, you are going to see this little sleeping snowman on the side. This is very important because when you do the follow-up activity to get your PD points for this, you're going to want to make sure you remember where this little button is. So if this is something I created and I want to share this, I can click on that sleeping snowman, click on share, and it's going to generate a link for me. I can share that with, you're going to need to be able to share that link for your points, but you can share it with another colleague. And what it's going to look like for them, and you can also, by the way, do this right within the actual document. So you can do it within, right next to the export, or on that list, both ways. But what's nice is when you share this with a colleague, they will get something and it looks just like yours, but it'll say view only. So they can't edit it. They won't change yours because this is yours. But if they want to make a copy, they can, and it'll open up in their Khan Academy account in a new tab, and they can then start chatting with Khanmigo over the side, making sure they tailor it to meet the needs of their students. So it's still the same thing, but be able to tailor it and focus on what their students might need because it might be different than yours. So I did want to point out that feature. And I also want to show you this little, just kind of a cheat sheet. When you're chatting with Khanmigo on the side, there are a lot of things you can do to get support from Khanmigo. So people, I've asked in the beginning, well, what did you like? What did you didn't like? They're like, well, I like this, but it didn't do that. I said, well, tell it, right? So if it didn't do, if you wanted to break it down into steps, tell Khanmigo, I need you to break that into steps. And if it doesn't break it into enough steps, tell them, break it into more steps. So it's really important to kind of like push the Khanmigo system to get it to literally do what you need it to do so that you have more time to do all the other things that are required for teachers and spend more time with your students. So this is something that you can use when you're chatting with them. And the last place, and you're going to get some time to work on this yourself, is you can use these tools with Khan Academy course content. So let me show you what that looks like. Close some of these out. When you're in your Khan Academy account, on the top left, you're going to see this button that says Explore. When you click on it, and you click on it again to make that go away, you're going to see a list of all of the courses that are available to your students for free and available for you to utilize. So say you were teaching, I think I saw some fourth grade. Say you're teaching fourth grade math or reading and language arts, anything you would like to try to possibly use from our content. I'm going to go down to multiplying fractions. Maybe you had a student that was absent, or maybe you have a sub coming in and you want to make sure they are using this fraction multiplication on the number line. I can click on this, and this is the video, so I can preview it, and I can then go up here and I can look at all of these tools I can create with the video. So I can give the link to this video just by copying this up here. I can give this to the sub or have it ready in Google Classroom. Then students are going to watch the video, and then I can create a discussion prompt for it. I can create quiz questions. I can create an exit ticket. It's going to, I just clicked on exit ticket, bring everything right in, the lesson topic, the grade level, click start, and it will create it right from our course content. So what I'm going to have you guys do is I'm going to have you in your account, click on the explore at the top, and just poke around in what would be relevant to what you teach to your students. There are also some life skills over here. So we have internet safety, growth mindset. So maybe it might not be a course content, but maybe some life skills. And go ahead and take a look and go into our content and see what it's like to create using a teacher tool with Khanmigo and Khan Academy course content. I'm going to give you about 5 minutes for that one. All right. I saw in the chat someone saying that they'd love to see more elementary leveled science, and we have content teams. Oh, and it just came up on the screen. We do have our content teams constantly working on new content. As most people know, Khan Academy started out as math only, and so it has come very, very far with content across all grade levels and subject areas. So they are constantly coming out with new content. And I love that someone said the reports have been really working better this year. So I'm glad to hear that. If you have any issues, please reach out. Our support team is great and always willing to help. And I do want to thank you all for spending your part of your workday with me and for your dedication to your students and your openness to learn some new ideas. I appreciate your time and energy. It does not go unnoticed. I'm going to send it back over to John to close us out.
Thanks, Tamsin. Hope everyone had a great training today. Lots of great tools that you can use for your students to hopefully make your life easier. That's the goal in the end, is to take some stuff off of your plate once you've learned how to use these tools. So before we end, don't forget we have all of our trainings on our website, edtechtraining.palmbeachschools.org. And you can access those by clicking on the e-learning courses on the left-hand side. There is a follow-up if you would like some points for joining us today. Simply go back into ELM where you got to this course, and there'll be another module underneath of it that will create a document, a copy of a document, and that will give you step-by-step what you need to do to finish up for the points. But we also have lots of courses on the website as well already. We also have 2 more courses happening this afternoon that we would love to have you join us as well. We have one on Google Gemini for elementary educators happening at 1. And we have an amazing Canva session at 2. And both of those are in ELM. So you just search for Google Gemini or for Canva, and they will appear for you. You don't have to do the follow-up. You could just join the training. I highly recommend, if you've never used Canva before, to hop into that training. That's one of the most popular trainings that we have had lately, and there's lots of incredible things you can do with Canva. Also, we encourage you to join our mailing list, and we send out something on our mailing list every month or 2 based on what's coming up, the trainings that we have. We've also had some paid trainings in the past, and that's kind of how we get the word out. We send it through the superintendent update, but we know it doesn't always get down to you at the teacher level. So you can tap right into our mailing list by hopping on that link. Also, our website is there, and the link to our Twitter is there as well. So with that, on behalf of the entire educational technology team, I want to thank you for joining us today. If you have any questions or need any kind of support with educational technology, our team is here to help in any way we can. So never hesitate reaching out to us. And if it's not our job, we'll find the person for you. So thank you, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Bye-bye, everyone.